The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk-adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today. Are you a band, artist, or event coordinator and tired of being a victim to the algorithm? Do your show announcements get lost with fans missing out on your gigs? Well, say goodbye to that hassle because the StrugglingArtistPodcast.com has just launched a brand new, super easy event submission form. You just fill out the event or band name, the show details, and then you hit submit, and that's it. Your event instantly appears on the beautiful new interactive calendar, keeping your fans in the know. It's the simplest way to get your show or your event in front of the right people. No more missed gigs, no more missing a show due to an algorithm. Submit your next show or event in just 30 seconds. Go to the StrugglingArtistPodcast.com and click on Event Submission now. Did you ever see Ozzy or Black Sabbath or anything?
I saw a late version of Ozzy at a festival in the 90s that Ozzy was not playing on. So I've never really seen full Sabbath Ozzy. I have seen Ozzy in that same setting, but I've never seen Sabbath with Ozzy.
Yeah, I never had a chance to see Ozzy or Sabbath. I was a huge Sabbath fan. Huge. I mean, I still am, but like what it's weird because like, you know, since the time I liked music, like they've been a constant, and like now it's a weird thing. It's sad. We did record. We went to record a Patreon show, called Lists, and I was like, and then when we found out that happened, I'm like, let's just do a chopping it up and talk about it. And when I'm done with this, I'm actually going to post that like to the public. So after we recorded it. I lost internet earlier, so it was like I couldn't do anything. But then I reset my modem and router and whatever else.
A little weird Sabbath connection kind of thing. So it's a little urban legend, but basically Tommy Iommi kind of invented power chords because he's missing part of a finger and he can't make like full open chords and stuff. Yeah. So I've got a little connection because I cut part of my finger off in a construction accident. So did you really? I don't think I've ever knew that. Yeah, it's my strumming hand, not my fretting hand. So no weird chord shapes necessary for me.
Right on. Yeah, but dude, you've been around for a while. You've been in some bands. And now you have Mass Spy. Like, let's kind of take it back from where you started. You know what I mean? Like, what got you into, the Boston music to begin with?
Yeah, so it's funny. I would actually kind of say that I'm kind of not a Boston music guy. So I'm from Southern New Hampshire. Parents were divorced, bounced around a little bit, so I lived in a bunch of different places. I went to high school in Dover, New Hampshire, and I also went to high school in Milton, New Hampshire. So my mom lived in Milton for most of the time I was there. So that's about 35 minutes north of Portsmouth. Mm-hmm. So I spent a lot of time at shows in Portsmouth. So in the 90s, the mid-90s, bands would basically play like Friday night at the Elvis Room in Portsmouth and then Saturday night at the Rat. So I was at very few Rat shows, but I was at every Elvis Room show.
It's still connected, right? It's still
yeah. But all the same bands. Like we saw so many of the cool Boston bands. Everybody that came through on tour that played with the cool Boston bands. Like it was an awesome place to grow up. It was an awesome scene to be, getting your license and driving around finally. And we were crazy too. Like we drove to Worcester, we drove to Burlington, we drove to Boston. We went to a lot of shows.
Yeah. When did you move to Boston? Because I know you and I we took a detour one time, and you gave me like it was like, if anyone ever wants a like Boston punk rock royalty tour on where everyone was and playing shows,
it's just because we all could only afford to live in the same spot in Somerville that now nobody can afford to live in. But
yeah, right, yeah. So when did you move out that way?
So I graduated high school in 1999, went to college. My finger delayed me by a little bit, so I actually graduated 6 months late. So winter of 2003, I graduated college and I moved to Somerville. So I moved in there winter of 2003 with Jamie Fitzgibbons, Fitz, who was the Scars drummer, and my friend Rob. Some people know him as Big Monkey. He's just got a fun personality. Right so we moved into an apartment off Lowell Street in Somerville in 2003.
When did the Scars start?
2004. That summer we started just kind of messing around, and it never really was meant to be a big band or anything. So Dave and George, the singer Dave Wells, and George Drez, our bass player, were in another band at the time called Ransom Note. They were fun. We saw them play a bunch of times. We started just kind of jamming, and there was always a guitar line around that summer. We were always just messing around, and somehow that hanging out as neighbors turned into a band.
That's awesome. The Scar, I mean, highly regarded Boston band, the Scars. And I remember. I
don't know about that, but we had a lot of fun, and we managed to do some fun stuff that was pretty DIY. So I'm definitely proud of the record we did and how we did it.
Hell yeah. And then I remember when I met, like, you and I officially met, and Matt Charette, right? Matt Charette was like, well, we had met before that, maybe, right?
It's a good question. I definitely...
We kept running into each other. We're the two tallest guys in the room. So, so we definitely noticed each other a few times, you know?
You've got some inches on me, though, for sure, but yeah.
Yeah. So I remember, so I remember when I found out that you were in the Scars, and I was like, holy shit, you know? And I remember I had asked you if you wanted to come on, and you're like, maybe once when I get a band again. I'm like, okay. And then you got a band again. And then I kept on you until you finally said yes.
Yeah, you've been badgering me, although I don't really have anything major to promote right this second. So we put an EP out, my new band, Mass Spy. I'm singing. We've got John Curtin, who's also in the Poor Men and was in the Morning Afters. I think he was in the Gobshites and a few other kind of Irishy punk bands in the Boston area. He's playing drums. And then we've got Jamie Payette from Loser Circle, who does your awesome intro. Mm-hmm. Jamie's been in a million bands, too. I played with his high school band back, in the early days. We played a show in Lowell at like a college cafeteria kind of place with Dogfight USA, which has Frankie from Radiator Rattlers and These Lies. So
that's awesome.
Bunch of good guys have been around for a long time. We're having a good time together.
Yeah, I remember. I went to your show at the Vernon. That was a good time. I videoed it, and I was trying to do something funny, like funky, to see if it would work, and it totally screwed up the video that I had.
You gotta try it. You don't know, right?
Yeah, right. I had to give it a shot. I'm not good with the whole internet and I think I was doing like a live stream for Instagram with it, and I messed up everything. So
until something like last year, Fitz from the Scars was saying the line, "The internet's the wave of the future," and it was it was probably the wave of the future back in 1999. Now it's just here.
Yeah, it's just here. And actually, one of the songs you mentioned the internet on, right?
There's a little bit of a kind of a doom scrolling, and
Yeah. I was listening to it today. I'm like, God damn it, he's right. Like,
yeah. So it's funny. So there's a couple lines in that song that are basically saying that like we're all sitting here in front of an algorithm that's getting paid to feed us things that make money for corporations, and we're not really making our own decisions. I have kids. I have my son actually just turned 13, so I have a teenager for the first time, and we just having a conversation with him about how. If you sit down and plop down in front of YouTube and you just hit like the next recommended video, you're not really deciding what you're consuming. You're just getting what's being fed that's maybe related to some interests you have, but also is just the most popular or gets the most advertising revenue. So it's kind of a scary world where we don't get to make the decisions about what we consume unless we're really intentional and actionable about what we want to do.
Yeah, even, you bring up a good point, because like even thinking back to like, before the internet, when we just had television, right? Like we could change the channel, like we could go to the next thing or change it, and we knew what we liked at what times. Remember, we had something called TV Guide. No one knows what that is anymore. It was this little magazine that would tell you what times things were on, so you could plan your night where you're right. You just got to like trust what's going on, right, in the algorithm now.
Yeah, I mean, believe me, it's nice to be able to just throw on, The Big Lebowski anytime I want to see it or something. But, there is something to be said for that. Like you watch Seinfeld every Friday night at the same time, kind of thing too.
Yeah, I think fandom as a whole is a little less now because of that. Because of that, right? It's everything's at our fingertips. I remember when I sound so old. I remember when pay-per-view first became a thing, and I was like, "Whoa, we're gonna be able to watch whatever we want," and it wasn't that at all, right? I thought you could literally, but now you can, right? Now that everything is like, we're so it's oversaturated with everything now. So like, I can watch, Supernatural 300 times in a row if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's streaming over here or over there. But like, I remember pay-per-view was just like, I thought it was going to be that, and it came just later on.
Well, pay-per-view is kind of a good analogy though too, because I feel like we're starting to not own things. Like if a video game comes out, you don't own the video game, you own access to it. And if you get like a streaming movie, Netflix decides to take it away someday, like you don't actually own that. Amazon's probably a better example, but basically you're owning access to that thing, not the actual thing. It's funny because I wish artists got paid more. I feel like there's a lot of situations where people work really hard on their art and it's just not profitable in any way. But at the same time, I really am kind of a freedom of information guy where I would like to see DRM free movies and stuff that you can do what you want with them, that you can, have a library on your own computer of your own stuff. Same thing with music. It's funny, dating ourselves to an extreme degree, but I'm sure you lived through the Napster era. Mm-hmm. But I remember I only downloaded 2 albums ever on Napster, and I downloaded them the same week. So I was going to a show in Western Mass, and it was Hudson Falcons, the GC5, and what was Matt from Dropkick Murphys, and Pat had a hardcore band. It's really good too. Oh God, I'm totally blanking. It'll come to me eventually. But anyway, so A Fit for Abuse.
Okay.
So it was an awesome show. I basically took the second Hudson Falcons record. I already had the first one, and I took the first GC5 record, on Napster and listened to them. Played their songs a million times before the show. Got excited for it. So I went to the show, and I felt so bad that I stole music from both bands that I actually bought everything at both bands' merch tables.
You know what? I kind of feel that way. That's how I am now. I'm repenting. That's why I own so many records. Because I stole everything. I've told Mark, I stole the shit out of your music. I ended up buying
as an artist, I kind of don't care. But as a consumer, I'm like, those people should get paid.
Yeah. So, I ended up buying everything. You know what I mean? Eventually. But, when I was younger, I didn't have the money. And, I contributed to it. And, I called Lars an asshole for everything they were doing with
and he was.
Yeah, and he's an asshole just to be an asshole. But I guess he kind of had a point because look where we're at now with Spotify.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues with Spotify, but I think the fact that music as a media and consuming it just doesn't make artists any money anymore has really taken the money out of the industry, which just means that artists have to try to make money other ways. It's sad to me that we just went from you could make it big, you could pay your mortgage with being in a band, and it didn't have to be the biggest band in the world, but now you're paying $400 to see a show because that's how artists make money, and you're paying $100 for a t-shirt because that's the only way that they can support themselves. That's a tough place to be.
Yeah. So what do you think happened? You think, because
it's really greed. The business has always been a greedy business, and people were getting advances that they were never going to recoup, and it wasn't a sustainable model for making money. But the fact that we've gone to just streaming being so commoditized and so little value, if you've got a big song being played on the radio a handful of times and that adds up enough that you get paid on it, that seems like a decent model. But when you've got such a diverse amount of music out there, and you and I are listening to one kind of music, somebody else is listening to cool electronic music, and hopefully you're listening to some of that kind of stuff too. But it's harder to get noticed. It's harder to get the attention to get to those big levels. The studios aren't putting the same money that they did into promoting, and people don't listen to the radio, so you can't get a radio single played a million times and make $1 million.
Yeah, rock radio, music as well. Unless you're Christian music, not even that. It's more like gospel stuff, right? God and sports took over the radio.
Yeah, sports for sure. Yeah, it's funny. So there's a local radio station that only existed for a little while. It was 92.9. I forget what the name of it was. I'm in the Worcester area, but basically Adam 12 had a show on it. It was a great lunchtime show. I would listen to rock radio in the middle of the day, and that station only lasted a short time, and now it's become like conservative media, like talk stuff.
I don't even remember when that was a thing.
It just closed like maybe 8 months or a year ago, but it was only in existence for a year or two. It was pretty short lived.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. That's just.
It was 92.1. It was 92 something.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. I just like, yeah, I don't know, man. And like, I love music, so like, I have to. I'm always trying to promote and try to get people to go to their band camps instead of going to. I mean, my band camp as of today. Let's see. I think I have. As of today, I have. That's views. 875 titles in my Bandcamp.
That's awesome. And Bandcamp, at least for now, is by far the best place to support artists because the money goes right to them. It's got low fees. You've got Bandcamp Friday, which is great if you can wait a little bit to buy the things you want.
Yeah, I do. I like that. I like doing I just bought an audiobook on there. Micah Schnabel put out one of his books as an audiobook on there, and I grabbed.
I'm a big fan of Micah's stuff in Two Car Garage, so he's great.
Yeah, he's great. I have an episode with him and Vanessa that's dropping in a couple weeks. So
nice.
from the
Call Me Rita.
Yeah. We're promoting one of the songs that we have coming out. So it was really nice to talk to him. I never really officially met them until I was at Puza. So. But anyway, listen, you've been around for a minute. You've toured. You've told me some great tour stories over the years. And then what made you? Because you were doing some like solo stuff for a while, right?
Yeah, I still dabble in that a little bit. So this is funny. I think this has actually come up on your podcast before, but so I was trying to just get better at using my voice and do the acoustic guitar thing to just spread my wings a little bit. So back in the Active Scars days, I started kind of working on that stuff on the side, but I never really thought about playing out with it. So Squally Green Thumb actually invited me to play a show at the Abbey Lounge corner stage with him. It was the first time I'd ever performed like that in public. I'd done an open mic night or something by myself, but first time I'd been in front of friends. It was a cool show. It was like Mark Lind and the Unloved and Death and Taxes. So basically I had a big crowd watching me butcher like Tim Barry songs and old punk songs, Pinkerton Thug stuff. But it was fun, and it got me to kind of learn how to use my voice because I don't have the best voice. I'm fairly good at using what I have, but it's not like anything special. A former bandmate that from this band actually just played a little while, Jeff O'Brien, said something like, "I'm pretty sure if you can sing these songs, that anyone can start a punk band." And he didn't mean it as an insult, but it's true.
Right.
Get off your butt and try something.
Yeah. Right on. Yeah. All right. So you start with that, and then what made you did you just get the itch to have a band again? Like what was going through you? Because it was a few years that you didn't have one, right?
Yeah. So the Scars played their last show in something like 2013. I certainly didn't want that band to break up or anything, but at that time I had little kids, so I had a baby and a second on the way. So I was busy. The guys were going a little bit different direction. So Dave Wells, who's got a phenomenal solo career too, kind of launched his solo stuff there, and the Scars just kind of fizzled out from George Drez had a good job that was taking up more of his time. We just were in a situation where we never broke up or had a fight or said, let's not do this. We just kind of were so busy that it didn't kind of keep going. And I think I really that entire time, missed it. Music's my therapy. Band practice every Thursday night is the best night of my week. So it's always something that I want to be doing. It's hard when you've got little kids and you're doing the family thing to find time for that stuff. So I think it took a little while. The pandemic was actually kind of a big impetus too, because I had a solo record that I was working at just for fun way back in the 90s. I started something in 1999 that I just had bits and pieces of songs floating around. So I was really lucky that the Black Friday before the pandemic, I bought myself an electronic drum kit. And I bought it because it was a good deal and because I wanted to learn how to play the drums, but I probably was never going to have time to figure that out. Well, anyway, 2020 hit and I had plenty of time to figure that out. So I learned how to play drums for real. I started recording demos where I sang, played drums, played bass, played guitar, played keyboard a little bit. I think you can probably see my keyboard in the back here. I'm never good at the hand separation with that. I'm actually better with drums. But, I basically just sucked it up and figured out how to make, 20 songs or something. And they maybe weren't all keepers, but it was definitely a good experience and a good way to pass the time when we were all kind of stuck at home.
Yeah. So I was, but because if I'm looking at the EP and you did it all yourself? Is it before? That was
So
before?
John ended up playing drums on the EP. Jamie was not yet in the band. So I played bass on that. I played guitar. I did the singing. John and I did some backup vocals, and John recorded the drums.
Oh, who did the backup vocals? You?
Me and John.
Oh, okay. Because I thought it sounded like Jamie. It kind of sounds like Jamie. So you picked the right person, I guess. That's awesome.
That's funny too, because John's kind of got like an Irish, classical, like he's got a much more mellow voice. Jamie and I just kind of put it out there and do our best.
Yeah. So, all right. So these songs, I mean, did you write these songs like you're like, I'm going to make this and I'm going to write these songs, or did you have some of these floating around with these ideas? I mean, because you go right at. I like how one's called Status Quo, because I was about to say that. Like you go right at it. Like you're it's political. It's humanity. It's all in there in these. And there's only 4 tracks, and one's a 25-second intro. So like you put a lot into every one of these songs. You know what I'm saying? So like, kind of. And also, like, is this, like, are you always writing like this? Is this how, you know what I'm saying? Like, this type of, lyrically?
So there's definitely a mix. I would say the songs we write about are personal experiences, love and loss and best friends that aren't here anymore, some sad stuff. There's a lot of politics. I mean, I think I've heard it said that if you're not, jumping on tables right now in this time in our timeline, like you're a poser, like what's wrong with you? I don't know how you can not speak up for some of the terrible things that are happening in the world right now.
Yeah. I actually got into an argument with a family member. We won't get into that. Dude, I'll tell you about that one later.
That's an offline conversation.
It was bad. Yeah. So like, and also like they're catchy tunes, man. Like I find myself, whenever I put it on, I find myself singing along. Like it's for me, it's like, I'm like, cause it's, I don't know. Cause you have some of these songs too. Like you kind of almost do like what Micah can do. You can jam so many words into like, into one little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So it's funny you say that. So I kind of like the vocal thing where I think it's cool to vary things up. So I like to fit a lot of words into a small space. And I also like to kind of stretch something and make it like fit a longer space. Yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, like the music that I love and play is 4-chord punk rock. Like it's not rocket science. You got to do something a little different to catch somebody's, attention or get it stuck in somebody's head. So I love little extra parts that just make you like sing a little differently or get stuck in your head. I love, finding a way to make lyrics and fit a little different cadence or something. So yeah, I try to switch things up as much as I can.
Yeah. No, I like it. And like, you've listened to the show and we've talked, like I can't write a song, and every time I try, when I get to the lyric, like I have too much to say, but then like I hear things like some of the stuff you've done, I'm like, oh, you can get it all in there. It's all about cadence, right? It's all about cadence, and you do, and you do a good job at stretching out like some of the parts too with other things, So like, I just like, have you always written like that? Because these are the only, outside of like you playing at my house, you know what I mean? That time, like these are the only other songs I've really. Like
so like the Squally Christmas comp, there's a song that's basically the same project. At the time we didn't have a name, and I put it under Subversive Thoughts.
I remember,
but that's a sad song about my sister too. So it's not all in your face politics. I mean, that EP was coming out the week of the election too, so that was definitely like on everyone's mind at that point.
Yeah, it did come out. Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. So I know you definitely. Yeah, I remember that song from Squally's comp. It was it's a really good song. It's another really good one that you had. So I mean, for X amount of years, you were just writing songs for yourself. And
I never really stopped playing guitar or writing. It's funny. I was talking to another person we'll talk about offline, but basically somebody in a pretty good sized band that played guitar and still does, but. He was telling me, like, I don't even have calluses anymore. I never pick up my guitar. And I was like, even when I was doing absolutely nothing, there was always a guitar next to my desk. And I was always, picking up a guitar and just messing around. So I never stopped playing. I just didn't have the outlet to use it. So I'm always somebody that's got a little recorder on my phone or something where an idea pops in my head. I just jot down an idea. And sometimes those things coalesce into a nice song. Sometimes it takes a little more work. But, it's fun to write music. It's fun to play music.
What does it do for you though too? Like does it like, is it helping you in any way? Like,
I think
does it keep you from,
it's cathartic to get, painful experiences out, or what's going on in the world that you're upset about. It's cathartic to put those things on paper or on music. I think for me, I'm kind of a knucklehead. I probably should be in real therapy, but I've never been willing to take that step. But for me, it's kind of like, I don't know. There's an unseen song, "Scream Out," that's basically like, this is my therapy. This is what gets me through the day. So whether it's listening to music or playing music or being involved with music, like, I'm a lifer. As Generation would actually said nicely, like, I'm a lifer, baby. These chords are all I need.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you like playing live? Is it a different feeling? Do you know what I mean, than it is to like write a song for you, or?
Yeah, so it's funny. Songwriting can come together quickly, or it can take forever. There's a lot of variants of. Sometimes you write a whole song in 5 minutes, and other times you've got a rough outline, and it changes and changes and changes. Playing live is fun. It's a different experience. I love just being in front of people and interacting with people. So I love playing live. I know we have other friends who play music that don't love playing live, and that's not their thing. It's awesome to go to a studio and spend a bunch of time, getting intricate parts down and stuff too. But at the end of the day, I think you can spend too much time on that, and it's more about the energy and the live experience for me, for sure.
Now, you also like you're my show buddy, even though we haven't gotten together to go for a while. It's been a minute since we've been able to get together and go, but like you're always out there though. I wish I had the availability to go out as like to see more shows, and I'm always like mad at myself because I'm like, oh, and it's always like, my schedule for work is what really ties me up a lot of the time, So
well, I have a lot of that too, though. So like I have family responsibilities. I miss stuff that I want to go to more often than I would like to. I still try to get out as much as I can, and you're right, I do a fairly good job of that. But at the end of the day, like if my son has a baseball game or if my daughter has a dance competition, I'm going to be at that and not the band that I want to see.
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure, yeah. For me, it's just like I just want to call out of work.
So I think there's a small circle of us that really like are still in our older years obsessed with like finding new music and discovering new things. I heard it said somewhere that like people who show you new music are important, but I really believe that. So there are a few people that I just love their ability to find stuff and show other people, and you're definitely on that list. So
thanks.
You're simpatico for sure.
Thank you. What with that topic, have you found anything recently? Anything new?
Yeah, of course I didn't prepare very well for the stuff that I've checked out recently that I really like. So Time and Place has an awesome new record that just came out. Yeah. I discovered them back when they did a split with the Old Edison.
Yep.
But those songs are great. I actually just saw them at the Silhouette Lounge in Alston on a Monday recently. It's funny. So sometimes I squeeze in better on like a Monday when nothing else is going on. But
yeah,
that was a really fun time. So that was a great show. And Tail Light Rebellion was also on the show. It was a fun Monday night at the Sill.
Oh, that was yeah. You hit me up for that show, and I was like,
I don't always remember to hit you up, but I try to ask if I'm heading in somewhere.
I fixed my car, by the way.
Nice.
I think I was like elbow deep in my car when you had messaged me, and then I recorded with Christine that night. So, which that episode dropped yesterday. It was
nice.
really good one. Really good. Yeah.
We were talking about this, but I played a solo show with Christine and Franklin Siplis and Rooftops shortly before the pandemic. So she's good people.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Yeah,
we're talking about Christine from Little Low, by the way. I don't think we've said that yet.
Yeah. I am really like, and I her and I talked about this, but like, just like really like excited for all the bands that we know. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, and you've been around. You've been in it for a while too. So like, you could probably have some insight into this, and like, it's a different time than what it was, say, 20 years ago, but like, it's still a good time. You know what I mean? Like, and I think there's the camaraderie is still there, and if not, maybe a little bit more now. And like, I don't know. I just think it's a really if we were in the 90s, I think a lot of money would be getting tossed at Boston right now, like for the bands.
That's cool. I haven't thought of that much. Some other great new bands. So Gossip Caller, which is Tom and Victoria from Spitz and Showcase Showdown. They're doing this awesome high energy goth thing that's really fun to watch live. Their record's great too. Some friends, Mark Lind and the Unloved and the Generation Exit split is fantastic. That's a fun new one. Trying to think. Not super new, but I saw this band No Heads from Richmond, Virginia play in Haverhill a couple years ago. And they do kind of like a blitzy, political, street punky thing that I think is really great. So I really like that band.
No Heads? I'm going to write that.
No
one.
Heads.
Yeah. I like that. Is there any plan for a Mass Spy hitting the road, or?
A little bit. I don't think that we'll be a full-time touring band or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, we joke that we're three dads in a band that's pretty low key. There's not a lot of expectation, but at the same time, we're trying.
Ask Scotty Saints. That's his dad punk. He's all about that, right?
For sure. But yeah, so I think like we are going to do some out-of-state travel. We'll try to play New England and New York and places we can, do a 3-day weekend here and there kind of stuff. But we won't be hitting the road to, play festivals in Europe or anything anytime soon.
Yeah. Now, all right. I know you hinted at this, and then we briefly talked to it before we started. But you guys are writing an LP now, or you're recording one, or?
Yeah. So we've got a lot of songs ready to go, like something like 20 that are fairly complete. So they won't all be on a record, but we're working toward having a record, a full length record. So I'd say at least 12, probably a little bit more. And we've got some drum tracks down. We mostly record at home these days. So in my mind, it makes more sense to spend money on somebody mixing it professionally. Believe me, I love the recording studio thing. Like we recorded at the Outpost in Stoughton, which is where most of the 90s Boston bands recorded. And that was a great experience. But at the same time, it's hard to justify spending the money on a recording studio right now. And that stinks because I want to support the recording studio friends too.
Yeah, but it's expensive.
Yeah. And like we talked about, there's no real expectation of making your money back. Like you put your music on Spotify and it's great that it gets exposure and people get to hear it. But at the same time, there's just not really money in making music. And believe me, we're not in it to make money, but it would be nice to just not lose so much money.
Right. Any thoughts on physical release or anything?
Yeah, we'd definitely like to do vinyl. We'll see if that works out, but that's the goal, is to do vinyl and digital. And I hate it when a record doesn't come with a Bandcamp download, so my goal is to have a Bandcamp download in that sleeve too.
I was just thinking about that. I almost wrote on my Instagram story that I missed the days where every record. Because you know how many of those I just threw away because I didn't see that it was in there, or you know what I mean?
Like
or
stacks of them on my desk. Let's see who this is.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm like,
Ramallah, Last Gasp of Rock and Roll that I still haven't downloaded.
Yeah. Then I go. So here's the funny thing, right? So I end up going and I buy the album, and then I realize I had the code the whole time. Yeah. So, that was one that I bought, and I was like, "Oh shit, I have it," And of course, I have like 3 different copies of that record, so I have like.
Then I just give the code to somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I try to do. I try to give them out to people and stuff. Sometimes I throw them into the records that I'm sending out. You know what I mean? Time and Place did a cool thing. Like I think it was either last year or the year before, where they gave me a bunch of download codes for their albums. And I just threw them in like as much as I could. You know what I mean? Until
the record club?
Yeah, for the record club. So,
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I love that. Like it's, yeah, no, I do. I miss those days where everything came in. But again, I mean, we can do this with movies too. Like I used to get codes for the digital downloads for the movies, and I just throw them away. And then I'm like, oh shit! Now I'm just like, I'm lazy and I don't want to change a disc, so I want to watch this, and I go buy it. I'm like, I already had this, I think I did that the Friday the 13th, like the entire series. I had it. I had like the high def code for them all, and I threw it away like an idiot. And then like when I wanted to watch it, I had to go back and buy them all. So yeah, I get really.
And you still don't technically own it. You just don't have access to it.
Right. Yeah. And that's the worst part. You're right. At least I have the discs if everything ever happened, But then, like, even that's funny because, like, all I have for, like, I don't know, like an Xbox something or another that I don't use. But I use that for movies because it was, like, really good for movies. It was, it's same thing with the PlayStation. I had one of those a long time ago, and I used it for movies. But what happens is, like, you get caught up with streaming, and then when you lose the internet, because my internet, like today, my internet went down. So if I wanted to watch a movie, I got to put a disc in. But then I realized I didn't download the program so you can watch movies on it. So now you're stuck until you have the internet again. It's all a crapshoot, dude. It's all a crapshoot. Sorry, I just had a rant there.
That's all right. It's your podcast. You can rant about whatever you want, right?
That's true. That is true. That is true. But yeah, so that's cool. So if you heard it here first, if Mass Spy goes vinyl, there will be a download code in the.
There will be a download code. And if Epic shuts down Bandcamp before that, I'll be really sad and I'll figure something else out.
Yeah. So do you think they will?
I don't know. So it's supposedly not the most profitable wing, and Epic is a games company that doesn't really care about them. So it's interesting. It's definitely on my things to worry about list. That might not stick around forever. And Bandcamp has been such a great resource with Bandcamp Friday and just ability to pay artists to so much better degree. I love the model.
I hope they let us know so I can go in and download every album, all 800 and whatever I said I had.
You better get another hard drive.
I do. I have two 5 gig. What's that gonna do? I have two 5 terabyte externals that I use because of this podcast. I ran out of room once, and then I ran out of room, and I was like, man, how come my DAW wasn't recording, or Logic wasn't recording, and I found out it's because I didn't have enough room on my hard drive, so I had to go buy one of these things, and I just put everything there now. So, but yeah, I'll have to do that with all the music as well. I used to do that. So back to this the illegal downloading thing. I got big into like the torrent sites after a while.
Okay.
And I would get like everything. And what I ended up doing was like I ended up taking like local bands. I'm like, hey, can I upload this so people can find it? Because they were like, yeah. I mean, because where I'm from, like there wasn't a lot of local shows. So if there was a band that was local that had something burned on a CD, I put it on there so people could hear it. You know what I mean? So, and they were cool with it, I guess, because no one was hearing it anywhere else. So, but yeah, no, I had a hard drive back then, all for just music. It was just music, all of it, just music. I had tons of music, and now I'm buying all those records because I feel bad.
Yeah, I have a ton of music that I've just ripped, so I like to do that. And my challenge is I have a whole bunch of random demos and stuff that aren't in the internet databases. So then you're painstakingly typing in each song title and trying to get it in the shape so you can actually use it in your music collection.
Yeah,
that's probably going to be a never finished project, but I'm working on it.
There's something. So you and I are we're the same age, I think. So we had before you could plug an iPhone or an iPad or what were they called?
Like an iPod?
iPod. Before you could plug an iPod into your car, they made this Rockford Fosgate, which is like an car audio company. They made this device, and it was basically remember zip drives for computers? Yeah. It was one of those, but it had a plug on the back, almost like a MIDI plug that would go in on one end into that, and then the other end into auxiliary, and you could plug it into your car stereo. And so I had this like hard drive mounted behind my seat that with 20 gigs of music, which at the time it was a decent amount to have, you know what I mean? But yeah, a lot of it, none of it had any names because I stole it all, right? So I had to like go in and program the whole goddamn thing. And then it stopped working, and then all of a sudden you could use iPods.
It's funny. I have a few bands that like didn't put their song titles in and stuff. So like Radio Rattlers is one example of the digital files that came with the download code aren't named very well. You can't tell what they are. It's like unknown artist. Rooftops is another one. Mm-hmm. So I have a few records that I've never cleaned up that are just like unknown artists. I'm like, oh, which one's it going to be?
Yeah. So I had gotten the Radiator Rattlers album, and like I took too long, I think, to get the download. So
it wasn't available anymore.
But yeah, it wasn't. Well, it wasn't available anymore. So I was like, son of a bitch, because like their stuff, you can't. I had the hardest time finding their shit online. You can't. Like, I think YouTube, you can. Someone has it. Like you can watch like the song, like just a blank screen with the album cover on it and listen to the song. Yeah, that's about it.
I have a bunch of old records. The only way I can listen to is actually put the record on. Like the first Showcase Showdown record, Appetite for Kings. Unless you like put it on YouTube and it's like a bad quality, there's nowhere to listen to that. So it's vinyl or nothing. Yeah,
I know. I remember you showed me you had a bunch of that stuff. You had like you have all their stuff that was on vinyl, right?
Yeah, I'm lucky. Like I bought everything in the 90s at merch tables. Like I have a million cool 7-inches and stuff. I also like in that era in the 90s and early 2000s. vinyl wasn't cool. Nobody wanted to buy records. So there were lots of discount record stores that you could walk into. Like I have like the whole Beatles, Stones, Springsteen catalog. And, you know, I was spending like $1 on these records that now a brand new record costs you $30.
Yeah, I know. And it's like the 12,000th pressing of it too.
Yep.
You know? So
yeah, vinyl quality's better too. Like there's advantages of what we have going on today, but
I think so. I also like, cause like I mean, when I was little, I had some records, but then like I was, you know, we're like the cassette era kids, right? Like, so I had so many cassettes, and then CDs happened, and then like something happened, and I was like, you know, this stuff is just too like polished for me. So I started buying like old records, but even records, like you said, anything recorded now, new, it's gonna sound crisp no matter what format you put it on. Even like I have new cassettes. I have stuff that came out, you know, in the past 2 years that's on cassette, and it sounds fine. It sounds better than.
I wish I stuck with cassettes longer than I did, because you know you couldn't scratch them. They were so much less fragile than CDs, but bulk of my stuff was bought on CD for sure.
The problem with the tapes though is like you could wear them out a lot faster. You know,
pencil eraser in there, cranking one back that got stuck in the machine.
Yeah, you remember. You remember those. Yeah. Did you ever have like an 8-track player or anything?
My mom had a car with an 8-track player in it, but we only had like 2 8-tracks. We had like a Beatles 8-track and something weird, like Allman Brothers or something that my mom didn't even like. I think they came with the car.
I had like a boombox, not a boombox, but like a portable radio, but it was an 8-track player. And I had one 8-track, and it was the Village People.
All right.
That's a
good party, at least.
We're a little too young, you know what I mean? Like we were there, but we were a little too young, you know. I mean, you were buying vinyl in the '90s and stuff. Were you just like a collector, or was it just like to support the bands?
No, I'm basically not a collector at all. So my mom had a record player. My mom's a huge Beatles fan. She has some early Beatles stuff that she just adores. So I always kind of liked records, but I've never been a collector. I really am not a collector still. Like I don't buy multiples or try to get certain colors and that kind of stuff. I'm buying it to listen to and to support the bands. I would say in the 90s, 7 inches were so cheap. A lot of bands put stuff out because it was just the only way they could get 2 songs released somewhere, you know, like do it yourself, pay for it yourself. It's cheap. Printed 50 copies or 100 copies of a 7 inch. That was just how you did it.
I think I said it 1,000 times. Hip hop and punk rock kept the vinyl industry going through the 90s because, like, you know, and then now it's beyond. It's huge again. It's like I don't know. It gets annoying when things get too popular again.
Yeah, but it's tangible. You know, like I think at least for me, I think the Scars record cover is cool. It's like comic book art, and like on a little tiny CD, it's kind of boring. I'd love to see it on full size vinyl.
Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, no, you're right. So that's the other thing too. Like I you know, obviously I collect them, but I also listen to them, right? And if by chance the 2 other copies of Dark Days gets worn out, I got the one in the frame behind me that I can put on. But like, I also think like, yeah, there's definitely like an art part to it, you know, and I think cassette tape. I think of cassette tapes as just art pieces now, like. And like I miss those. I was talking about it when we were talking about Ozzy earlier on the other show. That like the J cards, you know, some of them would slinky out like it was a freaking CVS receipt.
Oh
you
yeah,
know?
the long gatefold. Yeah.
Yeah, there were like art. There was tons of art on them, and I just like I appreciate that stuff, and I don't mind having that plus a record that's in a frame. And I'm only listening to it digitally because I can. I don't mind, but I don't mind having those other pieces because to me it represents a moment, like artistically a moment in time for somebody, you know.
Yeah.
So that's just I don't know. That's just what I do. But so is there? It's probably way too early to ask you when the LP is going to come out, but.
Yeah, I have no idea. It depends a lot what we do with it. You know, vinyl takes quite a while, so even if we're doing that ourselves, that's gonna be a while before something's ready. But it's in the works.
Yeah, cool. And now, will you come back on when it's when it comes out and we can promote it and stuff?
Sure. I kept telling you I was only gonna come on when I had something to promote, and then we kind of missed the window on the EP. So now I'm here in the limbo time, but I guess we can still plug the EP.
I like limbo time too, though. We're just here having fun, chopping it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
So I want to. All right, so we're gonna get a little local here before we go. I want to get a little bit local because like you're not too far from me.
Yeah.
You know, and the town of Webster isn't too far from either one of us. Have you seen this thing about the water monitor? The lizard?
Yes, I saw the water monitor that escaped. So apparently you're not allowed to own a water monitor in Webster or Massachusetts. But so like a 5-foot long lizard basically escaped out of an upstairs window, climbed down, and the police were chasing him all over the woods.
Yeah, they can't find it. I don't know how far they can travel. I'm nervous. I've got like a little pond in my backyard. Like,
I mean, I don't think they're going to attack you
like,
or anything, Trev. I think you're safe. He certainly can't eat you.
I think it will fight my dog. And they're dangerous. They have like
You're right that we could have to worry about dogs, but I think you're far enough in Webster. I think you're safe.
I think so. I hope so. The thing, I guess the owner is like upset that people are like mad at her.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you illegally owned this animal, and then you didn't even take care of it properly. You left a window open in your house. Like they showed like a picture of the window it came out of.
Yeah, I saw
like
it
a
too.
second-story window and went onto a roof, and then it hopped off. Like the thing was like wide open. Like who does? I don't know.
Godzilla escaped.
Yeah. Are you near any lakes or ponds where you are?
I am. So I'm fairly close to the reservoir near Worcester. So yeah.
Oh boy.
The water monitor. Maybe they'll take over and we'll have a bunch. Although I don't think they can survive very long in the fall.
No, I think once it gets a little cooler, that guy's done. I think that guy's done. If they don't find it, hopefully they find it before then. Yeah. But
for the poor lizard's sake, I hope they find him. They
had a missing cow over here in my neck of the woods that was like wandering, and they couldn't catch it. So I don't know about a lizard that can kind of like get in the water and hide from me. You know? So I don't know. Chris, man, this was great. Thanks for coming on and talking with me and talking about your EP with Mass Spy and what you guys have in store for the future, and giving us a little bit of a history lesson from the olden days till now. Yeah, when the LP is ready, dude, let's do this again. You know,
it sounds good. I don't want to think of the '90s as the old days, but it's been a long time. We're officially getting old.
I wouldn't mind having if you wanted to, we could have the whole band on too for the next one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be cool to do. So, but yeah, all right, man. Well, I appreciate you, and we'll see you later.
Yeah, thanks for making the time. Nice chatting.
Evil can grow, institutionalized oppression keeps our neighbors below. You're focused on handouts to those really in need, distracted by rent or driven by wealth greed. Draw a line, which side are you